Lately, we've been seeing a lot of games getting the remake treatment. Some deserved, some not so much. And some that just leave the question of why does this exist? Which brings me to Halo Campaign Evolved, the remake of the first Halo game that was originally released back in 2001, Halo Combat Evolved. Now don't get this confused with the first remaster of this game, Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition that was released back in 2011. This is a new remake built from the ground up to bring the classic game to the next generation. And it sure does do that. Now I should say, Halo Combat Evolved is one of the few Halo games I've actually played. I've played Halo, Halo 2, and Halo Reach. So I haven't exactly kept up with the Halo series, nor am I a super fan of it. So for this playthrough, I asked Mike to join me, since he's played through every Halo game, and has played Halo Combat Evolved somewhere in the realm of hundreds of times. Halo Combat Evolved was actually one of our go-to PvP games Mike and I used to play back in the day, putting in probably over 100 hours overall, so we know the original game quite well. So getting to play this game again in a co-op setting for the first time was nice. A quick summary for people who don't know about the Halo game series. You play as Master Chief, who has been tasked with taking out an alien race known as the Covenant on a giant unknown device known as Halo. As you progress through the game, you learn more about the Covenant, Halo, and how they're linked together. Overall, the story remains unchanged from the original game, as far as I can remember anyway. And while by today's standards the story is nothing special, I remember it being fun when I played it before. But I also remember the story being a bonus to the game, really, because I didn't play Halo for the story all the way back then. I played it for the PvP, which is a feature very noticeably missing from this remake. A feature that is glaringly missing from the game. It's what really put Halo on the map. It was one of the first online PvP games for the Xbox, and everyone loved it for that. So for it to be missing here just feels lazy. And that's probably the biggest issue of Halo Campaign Evolved. The game just feels like a lazy put-together mess that was meant to cash in on the nostalgia without any care of the original game, or what people loved about it in the first place. Microsoft put together a whole new studio to manage Halo games going forward, and this is the first thing they decided to do, was remake the first original Halo game and slap a $50 price tag on it. That incidentally is missing the half of the game that people loved about the original. In its place, we get 3 new missions that act as a prequel of sorts for Halo. Which brings us on an earlier mission where Master Chief took on the Covenant. A plotline that doesn't make much sense to me, but it might be something referenced in one of the later Halo games. But even Mike, who played it with me, was confused what the point of these earlier missions were, where they talked about getting a map, and Mike and I just joked about how this felt like we were playing Rogue One Halo Edition. Which ironically, the 3 additional missions are about the same length as Rogue One, with our playthrough of it coming in at just under 2 hours for those additional levels. But while the missions are new, and do have some neat enemies and same playstyle as the rest of Halo, they're just fine, and that's really it. They don't really stand out as a must-play addition to the game. And by no means do they justify getting this game at all. Releasing this game with no PvP mode and then just adding this on top of it just kind of feels like a slap in the face of fans of the original like myself. But more than that, what really hurts this game is its performance. This game runs so bad, both Mike and I were actually amazed at how unpolished it is. For starters, the game does not look HD or next gen, it just looks shiny. The models look good in the cinematics, but once the game starts, they just look fine. And the models for all the characters are all exactly the same. Even in the prequel missions where they could have gone creative with it, it's the same model in almost every character. The same generic face every time. Which for a game as big as Halo, I would expect at least a couple designs from the character creator mode to add some variety. If this game was released today by an indie studio, I would say it looks good. But it's coming from Microsoft, as a remake of the first game of the biggest franchise they have control of. This is just sad. Then the game is rife with bugs and visual issues. Throughout the playthrough, whenever a cutscene would occur, the frames at the bottom of the screen would be all jittery, for what I can only assume is a pre-rendered cutscene, with the quality being all over the place. And it wasn't just my screen either. As you can see here, it's even on the capture as well. But we found that if you clicked off the screen, the video will play without an issue, which Mike ended up discovering when we were trying to look up something about the game we were questioning, and clicked off the game while playing one of the cutscenes, and found that it played perfectly normal this way. On top of that, Mike as player 2 in these campaign missions would sometimes not even see the cinematics at all, You would just see a freeze frame of the last frame before the cinematic, then hear all the dialogue for it. And this wasn't a one-time thing either. It happened multiple times. Then we had weird effects where the smoke would appear like a PNG image floating over stuff. And both Mike and I experienced these issues with different PCs, different hardware, different resolutions. And we even had up-to-date BIOS and drivers, as suggested by the game when launching it. But based on some of the other complaints I've seen from people, this is by far not an issue only we had. For me, when I look at the remake of a game, I think of a couple different factors and why it exists. Those being to act as a love letter to the original game and bring it back for the fans to experience again, to bring it back to introduce it to a new audience, or to spark an interest in further follow-ups in the series. When it comes to Halo Campaign Evolved, I don't see it hitting any of these. Currently, you can get the Master Chief Collection on Xbox and PC for $40, which includes Halo Anniversary Edition, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, and Halo Reach. So for $10 less than this game, you can play this game without the prequel missions and nearly every other Halo game currently out. On top of that, it includes the PvP that everyone loves. So maybe the purpose of this remake is to bring in a new audience. Except I find this highly unlikely since Halo is such a big franchise. I don't think people were waiting for a next-gen remake of the first game to get into the series as a whole. And the last reason for a remake of a game like this to occur that I can think of is to drum up hype for a revival of the series or a new game. Which, let's be honest, a new Halo game would not need any kind of spike in attention. Sure, Infinite didn't do exactly as well as Microsoft had hoped. But if they announced a Halo 5 tomorrow, I don't think they would have gotten any less attention or hype for it if they didn't put out this remake. If anything, this remake might instill less hype in a future Halo game, considering this was the first attempt at a Halo game by their new studio made for Halo games. Which brings me to the obvious reason this one exists, and it's a quick cash grab. Throw something out there with minimal effort, get people on nostalgia to buy it, and move on. Just an obvious cash grab with no other purpose to it. That I can find, at least. That's what this Halo game is, and what Halo as a franchise has felt like as of late. If you want to relive Halo, pick up the Master Chief Collection. If you want to try Campaign Evolved, grab Game Pass for a month and play it that way. I would highly advise against paying $50 for this crap and supporting whatever this is. Just a highly disappointing mess of a remake that has no reason to exist. But that's just my thoughts on Halo Campaign Evolved. Do you agree with me or have a different opinion on it? Let us know in the comments below. If you made it this far, check out some of our other videos here on Bickering Nerds and hit that subscribe button. Until next time, this is Brad with the Bickering Nerds.